Here we go again. It is another week of Chiropractic is Sexy. I'm Dr. Paula Ruffin.
I'm Dr. Erica Peabody, and we are rolling into August on Saturday. I kind of like when the end of the month is on a Friday. It feels something so refreshing about let's just put a period at the end of that sentence. I love that.
Yeah, there you go.
August,
Get her done.
It seems impossible that we're already here.
It really does, and I think we say that every year.
I know. I say that all day, every day.
We got into summer. We started our summer series off with talking about what are you going to do for summer? Are you going to take your foot off the gas? And we broke this down into chunks. Did we say a quarter or a third or however we called it, because we then referenced the holidays, and the holidays are, October hits and then it's Halloween and then it's Thanksgiving and then it's Christmas and then it's New Year's. And you have just blown 3 to 4 months of your health on holidays saying, hey, I'll just start over at the beginning of the year. Mm-hmm. But then summer comes and it's like, oh, the kids are out of school. We're going on vacation. There's barbecues, there's parties. We're at the lake, we're at the boat. We're doing all these things. And once again, you are derailing. So people are literally living 6 to 9 months of their lives in this like wonky derailed phase. So we had that conversation early on in the summer to help inspire you to step into summer in a way that would really nourish your health and impact your life in a positive way, so that when we get to fourth quarter of the year, we're not going to be having spent most of the year in a completely derailed state.
Well, I love that. I just got this email actually through one of my coaches, and it says, the topic is, Q4 is built in August, not in October. And it just tracks so well with what we're talking about today, which is we cannot afford to take summer off. Of course, as business owners, but we just mean in general, we cannot afford to have 3 months where we eat out of a bag of chips and out of whoever knows whatever else, out of a bucket of fried chicken, and sit around on the beach or in the water with drinks. We cannot do that. It was funny. There's this other meme out there of this one gal that I follow. A surfer. Oh, we got a little reverb. But anyway, her meme was, if you've consumed more lake water than White Claws this summer, you're doing it right. And I just stuck with me. And I'm like, that is really literally so much of what I've been doing, but also ingesting, because I'm playing so hard at adjusting a ton of lake water. But yeah, it's so lake water, keeping your foot on the gas pedal when it comes to your health, making sure that you can start the school year off well, in wellness and well-being, and keep yourself well, as everybody around you will start dropping like flies second and third week into school. And then looking at the season ahead, where are you going to be?
Yeah, and this definitely translates into your families too, because again, we've got the kids are out and about, and we hope they're not home sitting on screens, but the kids are out and about having fun, playing. Our kids are not getting the exercise they should be, and I'm going to tell you why. I have no scientific fact other than my observational eyes to say that I don't know the last time I saw a young person on an actual bicycle without a motor. So we have motorized our kids on scooters and bicycles, and they're going all over the place. They might be getting fresh air, but they're getting no exercise. These kids are not pedaling these bikes. They're not scooting on the scooter. I had a skateboard and I had to move on the skateboard. I had to pedal my bike. And if we wanted to go anywhere, we had to use our legs, and we didn't know we were exercising, but we were exercising. And now we've given license to kids to be lazy, Here's a motorized scooter or a motorized bicycle because you don't feel like pedaling.
Mm-hmm.
That's a rough one on our society. And I think we're going to see a detriment to our kids' health even more so than it already is.
Well, okay. So I just saw research a couple days ago, and I'm not sure who I sent it to, but the amount of fractures uh, due to e-bikes has gone up like 400 times, or I don't even know, 400x or something. I can't remember exactly what the article said, but it was just posted the other day. I think it was like a June publication of some sort, probably like, I don't know, American Medical or something. And like, I'm just saying like something, and I don't know exactly, but the stats were humongous for fractures.
Mm-hmm.
And not that that doesn't happen on a regular pedal bike, that can absolutely happen there, but it's not the norm. And you're so right. I was driving around on my side by side last night. I just took the dogs out after I had already gone for a walk and done all the things. Like I took my side by side out and just joyriding on the back roads. I wanted to say bye to my brother Garrett, who drops his boat in to Lake Huron for a month. He's dropping it in tomorrow, and I'm just like safe sail or whatever. And I was thinking about it, and I was driving my side by side because it's super enjoyable just to like press the gas pedal. And I just think about how enjoyable it is for me, but I'm conscious I've already gotten my exercise and can only imagine what that's doing to kids who are just like, I don't feel like pedaling. I'm so used to being able to pull up my phone and get dopamine hits and communicate and conversate with my friends over video games and this and that. And then now I don't even want to pedal. And it's like that movie Wall-E, and at the end where they're all like driving around and they're like, this is where the world's going. And they've got like their sandwiches on their tray and they're driving around in motorized, like little tiny moving, sort of like a automated wheelchair would be, but only it's floating like I don't know, not a spaceship, but whatever, like a plane.
I don't know the reference. So,
oh gosh, it's right at the very end. And it's everybody, instead of even walking or doing anything, they're just driving around with the screen in front of them, their food at they're huge, morbidly obese. It's right at the very end of that movie. I'll have to look. We'll bring it up at a different time. But anyway, that's sort of, in a small way, it is a pretty big step in that direction. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's I think just paying attention to that as parents, as adults, for your children, as parents. I have a friend of mine in Florida who wanted to get her kids bicycles, and the husband, who they're now divorced, and kind of fought her on it. And now the kids have scooters. Also not insisting they wear helmets. She is, but the husband's like, you don't need those. And guess who wins when you're a 12 and a 14-year-old kid and you think helmets look stupid, and dad says, no, you don't have to. And mom's insisting you do. Guess who wins? You know? So, head injuries, head traumas, it's a very unhealthy place that we've gone to.
Are they motorized scooters or regular scooters? What is it?
Oh, no, they're motorized. No, they're motorized scooters.
If it's got a motor, one of the patients brought up to me yesterday, if it's got a motor, you should actually have you shouldn't just have the bicycle helmet. You need a jaw protecting, like a full motorcycle helmet for anything that's got a motor, especially e-bikes. But it's so interesting. It's like we just have to do everything that we can every single day to move our bodies and eat well and drink the water and prioritize rest and, of course, get adjusted and all the things we always talk about. But where are you with your health right now?
And do for your kids. Yeah, and do for your kids. And also have you earned the opportunity to get on the side-by-side? Yes, of course you have. Yes. You've gone out and done all the things. Mm-hmm. Have you earned the opportunity to have a cookie at a barbecue? If you've eaten healthy, then yes, you have. Have you earned the opportunity to sleep in a little bit more or go to bed a little bit less? Yes, if your sleep has been on track. The level of stress that we put ourselves under in summer is crazy. Like, we don't typically think of summer as being stressful, but you think about weddings and grad parties and all these different celebrations, and you're running around and you're taking family vacations, and you've got home projects that you're trying to do, and everybody's trying to cram their landscaping in here in Michigan in the 3 months that we have of decent weather. So there's a lot of things that continue to stress us out. And Dr. Eric and I have always said, like, summertime is the best time to get your families in for chiropractic, because you don't often have the deadlines that you do once the kids get back to school. Once the kids are back in school and they're back in sports and they're dealing with their schedules, that's the hardest time to get kids in for chiropractic care. So we end up seeing an influx in our practices of young kids coming in for care because they're not as burdened by their sports schedule or their school schedule. So that's when you really have to start thinking, what do I need to do for my kids during the summer that will set them up for success as the fall, as fourth quarter comes.
Okay, so also I was thinking about this. So many of the sports, the fall sports, they will start the very beginning of August, and they've been conditioning all summer. So the very beginning of August, which is 2 days away, is such a time for that frenzied energy because schedules have been more lax, all the things. And so now we have to get back into some sort of routine. The schools aren't going back for a couple more weeks locally anyway, but it's that frenzied energy from going from not paying that close attention to eat well, move well, think well, make your priority, make sure you're staying on a schedule of something, to then figuring out how to get back on the schedule. And that is so, and I talk about this every year in August, it is so against our physiology to take that much of a break and to get going that fast, that quickly. And I want to encourage everybody out there, if you're listening, figure out how to take some of the feelings you have still in July and bring those with you into the school year. For me, I was chatting with a friend the other day, and it's like on Sunday, because I was asking him, like, what are the schedule, like, whatever the schedule this week, I was figuring it out for myself. But what's in my schedule is obviously my work. It's also my workouts are scheduled on a paper schedule. My time with friends, my time with family, my time surfing right now, but also my massages, my adjustments, my time to sit down, my time for planning, all of that is scheduled. And it's also scheduled, like my personal care, my personal self-care is in a schedule. So how can we, instead of going balls to the wall, excuse my reference, once school starts, how can we take some of what we're feeling right now and make sure we're hitting some points that help us manage the stress as we're going into even just the next month?
Yeah. And let's also not forget the environmental stress that everyone has been under from the wildfires. And now everybody's freaking out and just terrified to eat lettuce because we have cyclosporia. And so these are not to be taken mildly, in the sense that I'm not telling you that you shouldn't. I'm saying you shouldn't freak out. I'm saying you should be concerned. But that freak out actually causes more of a flare up to your nervous system. And we talk about this concept of being chased by a tiger all the time. And so if you walk into a store and you see lettuce and you're like, oh my God, and you have some fear that you're going to get this parasite just by walking by it, that can make your body think it's being chased by a tiger. That can downregulate a lot of your immune function, a lot of your healing capacity, a lot of your digestion, and just your overall general health and ability to heal. So think about the things that have been happening too, that we have to be very conscious, like high-end consciousness, to make sure that we're not allowing it to really disrupt our physiology and our nervous system.
Yeah, for sure. Because control the controllables, and maybe we can have a whole episode on that. Like, what are the things we can control and what are the things we can't control? And I just think about the things that we can control. Like, I had this patient in this morning who he has been away for 6 weeks. He has the summer off. He was talking about his mom. She just did a calcium, like an artery calcium test, and it's like inevitable heart attack. That was what the test showed. But she also is morbidly obese and has gained a ton of weight, has high blood pressure and all the things. And it was like, well, Mom, not only can you solve some of this, you could actually solve all of this if you worked to change a lot of, not some of the things, a lot of the things that you're putting into your mouth, but also if you get out and start moving the body. And he also then said, he's like, the probability of her actually doing that is like pretty much 0%, even though it's all solvable by lifestyle choices. And I think we can all look around and say, okay, with what I'm doing, with what I've eaten for breakfast, with what I've done with my body so far today, with what I'll do with my body by the end of the day, and all, the stuff that we always talk about, like, are we headed towards health and growth, or are we headed towards sickness, illness, and disease? And it is very simple to see that. And it also is sometimes very challenging to make the right choices. And I'm not sure why we're wired like that. I'm not sure why, except for there's a lot of messaging out in the media to continue to be that way. And we'll just fix it with a shot and send you into, muscle wasting and sarcopenia and it's like, I don't know what the answer is, but there isn't a shortcut to any of it. And so we're here asking, did you take your foot up off the gas pedal? And can you put it back on the gas pedal? And can you use the sun to fuel the energy that gets you to a healthier place, even by tomorrow, by next week, by 2 weeks, 3 weeks, next month, next quarter?
Everyone can get up and drink a little more water today. Everyone can get up and walk today, and you can walk to your chiropractor's office. You can, and we have water. If you want to come to the chiropractor and get hydrated, we'll hydrate you. We can do that. We can do all those things. And of course, the number one thing you should be doing for your health is hitting the like and the subscribe button and make sure you're sharing this out.
That actually gets you healthier just by doing that. Yes. No,
that is the number one thing. That is the only thing we will say over and above chiropractic care that will help your health more than chiropractic care will.
And yeah, you talk about drinking just a little more water than you would have maybe yesterday or what you're planning on today, but also just take like a lot more deep breaths today. Take a lot more oxygen in the body. I was listening to a friend of mine. She shared this most brilliant visualization the other day, and she was saying, when you go on vacation, and summer's a little like this, so let's just say summer vacation, or you leave and your view of your world, like you've got some cool views to look at, you're in a new spot and your eyes open bigger and your vision of your surroundings is expanded, more of like this wide range vision rather than I've got to do my laundry, I got to do this, I got to take care of the kids and blah, blah, blah. And then you drive your mundane route into the office that you're so used to. She was like, what this does to your nervous system to take and borrow the eyes of somebody visiting you and your life for the first time. Borrow those eyes and look out at the world in that way, where you're seeing the downtown of the sweet little town for the very first time. You can actually change your physiology just by looking at your trip into work, like this beautiful office that I'm in. I look at this for the very first time. That's why I love giving a tour. Like I want to be there when somebody sees it for the very first time. But if we just take our mundane world and look out at it as though we've borrowed the eyes of someone who's seen it for the very first time, we can upgrade our health and downgrade our nervous system, downregulate, I shouldn't say downgrade, downregulate, which is truly an upgrade, and get back in the wonder and awe that keeps us really healthy.
Well, you mentioned the word mundane, and I think that's what it comes down to is we get head down every day and we just go, go, go. And a lot of people, for them, it's the grind. Mm-hmm. And I think that's a really great point, is to pick your head up and look at your life, drive a different way to work, go somewhere else for lunch, get out of your office, take a different route on your walk. If you always, like I go to a field behind my office to walk the dog at lunchtime, and most of the time I walk in a clockwise direction, and every once in a while I'm like, what am I doing? And I walk counterclockwise, and I see new trees and shrubbery and vegetation that I haven't seen before. So it's a really great point to make sure that you are keeping yourself out of the mundane. Mm-hmm. And to answer the question you asked about, you're not sure why we're like this, as far as like, do we take this pill and we take this shot, and it's conditioning. And we see this from the pharmaceutical industry. On television, we saw that, from the tobacco industry, when they said that smoking cigarettes was healthy for pregnant women. So this has been going on for so long, this conditioning of whatever the dollars of the company, how much they have and how much they want you to consume their product, they will be the driving force. And so I was telling a couple of people this morning, I have a woman that came in, she had gotten she was having some neck pain, but she was having some really bad arm pain and numbness and tingling in her arm. And she was back and forth to her primary care physician, steroid packs, painkillers, muscle relaxers, physical therapy. She went through this for 5 months before she came to see me. She finally came to see me. I want to say maybe it was like May-ish, June. And she was like, I don't know what else to do, but that's not working. And you would think after 5 months, if your doctor is giving you steroid pack after steroid pack, and that it would tell you if it worked, and I'm air quoting worked, if the steroids worked, that means there was a heavy inflammatory component, but they weren't working. Mm-hmm. So she comes to me, I start getting her adjusted, and she was in this morning, and she said, oh my God, thank you so much for fixing me. And I have to remind people that I'm not fixing you. I am simply giving your body the power it needed to heal itself. Mm-hmm. And that is the beauty of it. And I also I had a house full this morning, and I said, thank you for trusting the process, because right. I sell the intangible. We sell the intangible, like, are you going to get better? Yeah, probably. But you have to trust the process and what we're telling you. So I had several people in here. They were like, yep. Like everybody was in agreement. And I just thanked everybody just for trusting that it's the intangible and you stepped into the right place.
Yeah, no, it's so true. And healing is always retrospective, right? So especially as you start chiropractic care and you change some lifestyle choices that you're making, it's not like taking a medication and feeling well right away. Your body has gotten yourself into this place where it's got enough torque and tension that it started to shut that area down, lock it into torsion, and then lay down scar tissue because it's not safe. That's what we do when we're trying to heal. We lay down a bunch of scar tissue. The scar tissue is in all different kinds of directions. The segments of the spine get locked in. And so we've got to do repeat, because we've got to get these on repeat to line back up. With one adjustment, yes, it's awesome. Things get well. But it's multiple adjustments that start to get things really lined back up. And when those tissues line back up, you start to have more flexibility than when they were like this. And then from there, they start to move again. We start to get range of motion again, decrease inflammation, increase signaling. This woman was in this morning and she said, every time I leave here, I feel so beat up for about 2 days. But she's also been dealing with an ailing husband of 51 years, an ailing husband who was an extreme diabetic. And she was like, I tried to tell him, I don't want to have to take care of you later in life because you've gotten yourself in with lifestyle choices. And so that's exactly what happened. She's like, I've always was kind. It was so hard to say, see, I told you so. He ended up with amputation, all kinds of things due to diabetes. She worked with him and tended to him. But through that time, that feeling of like, I told you so, and then the lifting, the bending, doing all the things for him, she's telling me now after 4 visits, I said, I understand you feel really beat up. Your body's really open to what we're doing. Just know that this has been building and building and building over who knows how many years. And she said, yeah, I feel like my nervous system is going to take some time to thaw back out. And I said, I love that because that is exactly what's going on. You've been in this heightened, like all these backpacks. She's able to take care of her health, but she's got him and his next surgery and his next this and his next that and his next this. And I haul this around for years. And it takes time to like start to take one rock out, and then you did the memorial service, and then you're trying to figure out the home, and you're slowly let this thing off.
Oh, did he
But she's
die?
been like this
Oh,
for years.
he died?
He died 6 months ago.
Okay. Oh, okay. I missed
Yeah, so
that part.
6 months ago. So she's now like, now that she's gotten those pieces sort of put away for his life, now she can start tending to herself. But I loved when she said, I feel like I just need time for my nervous system to thaw back out.
It's such a great point, because so many people think that once that event, once the stressful thing is over, their stress is gone, not recognizing that those years of, which God bless her for recognizing it, but so many people don't, where they spend years in fight or flight. And then let's say it's a bad marriage and it's 20 years and they get divorced, and now they're divorced and they're like, oh, I'm all good. Well, you got 20 years of trauma in your tissues and your nervous system to try to unwind, to unravel and loosen up. And, we feel that when we put our hands on people, we feel the binding. And it does feel like tight, tense muscles. It definitely does. But there's an energetic feeling too, that I think we feel, that it's like, ooh, this isn't, there's a resiliency to a healthy muscle, but then there's a certain feel and just if I could say vibration to, there's an energy that comes off of muscles that have been traumatized through something emotional. It could be a physical trauma, but usually it's the emotional trauma, when you feel that, muscles should glide like this, right? It should glide back and forth. But when you put your hand on somebody, you can't get a muscle to glide. In my opinion, it's usually an emotional trauma. What do you find?
Yeah, oh yeah, for sure. That, and also like the chemistry, because of the emotion, leads to maybe even like stress eating or emotional eating, which is junk. So then you add this like inability to move, and then you set small bonfires in because of the choices that you've made with your things you're putting in your body. The one thing about this particular woman is that she has tended to her health really well. And I said, so here's the thing, it's been 4 visits, but I can tell you, if this kind of feeling beat up when you leave here is happening after 6 weeks of this regular care that we're going to do, then, we can look at something different. But for right now, just know that we are retraining your body out of fight or flight. And every time we adjust you, this says it's safe. We don't have to lock down like this. It's safe. It's safe. It's safe. And then we start to have some more flexibility in the tissues. So yes, so much is held emotionally. And I just think about tending to somebody who would be ailing, knock on wood that I don't have any of that going on in and around in my world. But if I do, cross that bridge when I get there. But I just think about going to those appointments, and everybody's been sitting in a doctor's office. You're sitting for far too long. The anxiety is building. It's been building for weeks since you made the appointment or whatever it is, knowing that there's something really wrong. And then they open that door and they give you something horrendous, a diagnosis to deal with. That in and of itself just is like 2 more rocks in the backpack. Put a big cinder block right in that backpack. And that fight or flight, and we all know this, nerves that wire together, fire together, wire together. So you've got enough of that, nerves firing together constantly in fight or flight. That's going to be your standard operating mode. It's going to be your standard operating mode. So like, what's around this corner? And when I wake up, is he going to be okay? And what, like, oh my gosh, I heard it. Like, it's all just redlining. And so when you're redlined for so long, you're headed towards serious disease yourself, dis-ease, and then disease, as we've talked about it in the past. And so greatest thing you can do is take such good care of yourself, take even better care of yourself, as we talked about with the smoke and the environmental stuff. take even better care. What's the best thing to do? Take even better care. The MDs out there are getting their degrees off ChatGPT. Guess what we need to be doing? Taking even better care. I'm sorry, chiropractors cannot get through school on ChatGPT, but they sure could. And that's not a hit to MDs because we need them too. But take even better care because you do not want to be seeing those people in a dire straits situation.
Yeah, we want to stay out of the hospital. I wanted to address Tio's comment here. The mind also revisits the experiences in memory, which reactivates the stress response. And that is so true. And that just because you witness something, when you think about, so, if I said to everyone watching, where were you when the towers were hit? Where were you when 9/11 happened? And everybody can revisit that emotional piece. And that still drives the emotional biochemicals that take you back into fight or flight. And it's really important to recognize how that, like going back and watching historical references to 9/11. And, we're coming out, like, every year there's a historical reference, and they'll show the towers. And sometimes I watch it and sometimes I don't. I'm still so much in awe of it. I'm also down all the rabbit holes on it too. So that's a whole nother thing. But it's really important to recognize that when you rewatch, when you think it in your mind, that it can reinstill those same biochemical pathways. And it's this also the same part of your nervous system that when you are an athlete, or even just for Dr. Erica and I, and all of our chiro sisters, like, we do a lot of visualizing, we do a lot of affirming. So we take and harness the energy of our nervous system and our brain, and we go to that positive visualization and affirmation. And there's a saying that says the mind does not know the difference between an event that's been experienced and one vividly imagined. And this is where high level athletes can you'll watch, like during the Olympics, you see this a lot with, like, the gymnasts. I noticed it really with the pommel horses or the mat work, and they will sit on the sidelines and they'll have their eyes closed and they're moving their arms and they're kind of like, they're doing their routine in their head and just having this little movement as they go through. That is the power of visualization. And so as much as those negative things can impact you neurologically, it's the positive things we have to be putting back into our brain and our nervous system to take us to the other side.
Well, we can talk so many different things about how powerful the brain is, of course, placebo effect as well. But also I was thinking about, as you were saying that, there was this group of, I don't know if it was kids or like teenagers, but they got locked in a refrigeration boxcar of a train. And they were like, oh no, this is actually, and I don't know how they got this. I don't know if it's a study or if it was something that was studied. But anyway, these people ended up, even though the refrigeration car wasn't on, their cells, when they did pass away, their cells mimicked what it would be like, the structure of what it would be like to have frozen to death. And that's just how powerful the mind is and can be. And if we can start to use that in our advantage, it's instead of our disadvantage. And for survival mode, we're all wired for survival. So it's often like there's a negative bias there. But like Dr. Paula was saying, like that fight or flight mode that we get in, we've said this in the past too. It's like we needed that to run from predators. We needed that to stay alive. Now we're using that same level of stress and hormones and brain processing to just deal with rush hour traffic. And so it's just a Tuesday, but we're acting like it's a saber-toothed tiger. And it really matters. And if we can take this and expand it out into, the rest of the season ahead and plan accordingly for our health this fall and start now, like there's another really awesome coach that says what's important now and then what's important next. And that we have to keep both of those in the forefront. remembered.
This is a great comment. Thank you, Nancy, for being here. And thank you for this comment. As a retired cardiac nurse, I prepped a patient with cardiac ablation. He was quite nervous, so I sat with him. He allowed me to walk him through a deep breathing visual exercise. You saved that man in so many ways. So God bless you for that. And for number one, having the patience to do that, and just taking the time and not being rushed by the medical system, because that can happen as well. So yeah, we need more nurses like you, nurses and doctors who are willing to sit with their patients and, of course, first do no harm, which is the Hippocratic Oath. So, and she said she documented it. So I love that. Yeah. What? And guess what? Ablation deserted. His heart was in rhythm. Nancy. Yes. Oh my gosh. That is so powerful.
It is so powerful. That's available to us at any time we want it, which is, people just don't realize it. So
have a friend. If you're having anxiety, tell a friend to come over and sit with you and hold your hands and take you through breathe deeply together. The two of you together will, can create so much change within your cells that, you'll both benefit. So that's awesome. Outstanding. Well, I think it's a great place to end on that story. That was wonderful. Thank you for sharing. We will be here next week, and I will be here for Sunday Night Live. So make sure you are tuning in. All right. Thank you, everybody. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe.
Yeah, that's how you get the healthiest.
That's how you get the healthiest. Number one, exactly. And we will see you all next week. See ya.